Johnny Crawford was an incredible young talent who captured the hearts of fans every time he appeared on screen. But was his life as perfect as the charming characters he played? Today we're diving into some of the deepest, often hidden truths about Johnny's secrets that followed him until his final days. Anyone who watched television in the 60s or 80s will remember Johnny as a beloved American actor, singer, and musician. He was best known for his role as Mark McCain on the hit TV series The Rifleman. And for being one of the original Mouseketeers on the Mickey Mouse Club, he fit these roles so naturally that audiences often blurred the line between Johnny and his characters. It wasn't just idle praise. Johnny's talent was recognized early, earning him an Emmy nomination at just 13 years old. Johnny's popularity wasn't by chance. Along with his natural charm and skill, he had savvy managers who ensured his fame extended beyond The Rifleman. He thrived as a musician too, with every release flying off the shelves. Remarkably, despite his success, Johnny sometimes acted without pay, choosing instead to surprise and delight his fans. However, the shock he gave in 2021 shattered many hearts, raising the question, why did someone with such talent and acclaim leave this world burdened by regrets? To understand this, let's look back at Johnny's beginnings. Born on March 26, 1946, in Los Angeles to Betty and Robert Lawrence Crawford Sr., Johnny came from a family with a rich, artistic heritage. His maternal grandparents were Belgian, and his grandfather, Alfred Eugene Mirren, was a renowned violinist. Growing up alongside his siblings Corydon, Robert, and Nance, Johnny's path seemed destined for greatness. Talent ran deep in the family. In 1959, Johnny and his older brother Robert starred together in the series Laramie. Both brothers earned Emmy nominations for their acting, while their father received one for film editing. Johnny was building an impressive resume from a very young age, at just 9 years old, with the guidance of his parents. Johnny auditioned for the Mickey Mouse Club. Producers instantly saw he was perfect for the role of a Mouseketeer, and Johnny eagerly accepted. But here's a surprising fact. Johnny and his family never asked for payment from ABC. Instead, they considered the opportunity priceless, an investment in fame and future success rather than immediate financial gain. 4. Family like the Crawfords. Money was secondary to the priceless value of exposure and reputation. Through this selfless choice, Johnny's star began to rise, propelling him toward heights in Hollywood that few young actors ever reach. Their little strategy paid off more than 1,000,000 times over as Johnny started landing bigger and better roles. He began as one of the 24 original Mouseketeers on Disney's The Mickey Mouse Club in 1955, where he regularly appeared in segments with the Red Team. His brother Bobby also became a TV star, appearing on the show during its first season. However, Bobby left the spotlight at the end of that season. Having gotten what he needed from the experience, Johnny soon parted ways with ABC and quickly landed his first film role in The Sons of Katie Elder, starring alongside the legendary John Wayne. Don't worry, John Wayne isn't related to Batman, despite the similar name. This role gave Johnny the confidence every successful entertainer needs. From there, he went on to star in several major projects, including Little Boy Lost, which marked his first significant acting break. This film was a theatrical release on March 15, 1956. That same year, he also appeared in The Lone Ranger, notably in one of the few color episodes of the series. For the next 2.5 years, Johnny freelanced, accumulating nearly 60 television credits. His roles included 3 episodes of NBC's The Loretta Young Show, part as Manuel in the crime drama The Sheriff of Cochise, starring in the Season 1 finale of The Restless Gun in 1958. He also gained more fame as Bobby Adams in the 1958 drama Courage of Black Beauty. Johnny seemed to be everywhere. He even appeared as Tommy Peel in a 1958 episode of Tales of Wells Fargo called The Dealer. What happens when a young talent is exposed to so much limelight and fame? Often, it corrupts them. Like poison to a young mind, but was it the same for Johnny? Let's find out. Johnny Crawford's big break came with The Rifleman. This time, he wasn't just a junior side character. He played Mark McCain, the young son of war veteran Lucas McCain. Just to remind you, the iconic Lucas McCain was portrayed by none other than Chuck Connors. This was a special role. Chuck was one of the first actors to portray a single father on live television. The Rifleman was a massive hit, airing from 1958 to 1963. The show was groundbreaking because the father-son bond it portrayed. Both the sweet and sour moments was something new to viewers at the time. Johnny appeared in all 168 episodes, and thanks to this role, the Rifleman shot him to the peak of fame and Hollywood stardom. Many believed Chuck Connors was the one who brought Johnny into the spotlight and made him popular. But hold on, because later we'll reveal how Johnny actually helped save Connors' career, enabling him to remain the iconic Rifleman for so long. Johnny's fame continued to grow with his role in the Big Valley from 1965 to 1969, where he starred alongside Barbara Stanwyck, playing the widow of a 19th-century rancher. He also took on notable roles in films like The Count of Monte Cristo and Cavalcade of America. By this point, Johnny was the Golden Sparrow, a name given because anything he touched was destined for success. Producers used his popularity to boost their projects, and he made cameo appearances on shows like Rawhide and Hawaii Five-0. He was also a frequent guest on The Mike Douglas Show and The Tonight Show, starring Johnny Carson. Johnny had become a household name and a symbol of fame. Kids dreamed of being him, living his life of glamour and luxury. Here's where things get interesting. This is when Johnny saved Chuck Connors. It all started in late 2013, when Levy Gardner Lavin Productions, the original producers of The Rifleman, secured the rights from NPI to release all 168 episodes in order for the first time. The show gained renewed popularity in its early seasons, but interest waned when Lucas McCain began dating Miss Millie in the third season. Fans didn't like the storyline, and the romance ended in season 4. Meanwhile, Connors faced tough times. He wasn't being paid enough and wanted to quit. He was nearly replaced by James Whitmore or John Anderson. However, the producers recognized that Connors was the perfect fit for Lucas McCain. They saw the strong on-screen chemistry between Connors and Johnny Crawford and the respect they showed one another. They increased Connors' salary, and he stayed on as the Rifleman, securing his legacy as a beloved star. Without Johnny, Connors might have been forgotten. While Johnny and Chuck shared a close working relationship, their off-screen relationship was a whole different story, one you might want to sit down for. Despite their on-screen chemistry, Johnny Crawford didn't hold Chuck Connors in high regard off-camera. In fact, Johnny considered him more of a nuisance than a mentor. He described Connors as a practical joker and a bad influence, someone he didn't particularly respect on a personal level. Still, Johnny had an incredible run in his acting career, so memorable that his legacy is likely to be remembered for generations. But what if the biggest punishment for a man like Johnny was to forget it all? All the glory, the fame, the accomplishments. You'll soon understand what that means. Many people were puzzled when Johnny suddenly pivoted to music. Some called it impulsive or uncalled for, but that's only because they didn't understand where he came from. Johnny was born into a deeply musical family. As mentioned before, his mother was a talented pianist, and his maternal grandfather, Alfred Eugene Mirren, was a professional violinist who played in Germany and Belgium before immigrating to the United States in 1914. Alfred wasn't just a skilled musician, he was a passionate one. He taught his wife Frances to play the violin, which led to her own career as a music teacher. Alfred went on to play for prestigious orchestras, including the New York Philharmonic. That musical legacy passed down through generations. Alfred's daughter Betty picked up the piano, and Johnny's uncle, Bobby Crawford, became a major figure in the music world. He collaborated with Irving Berlin and co-founded the Crawford Music Corporation, producing Broadway plays and musicals. In 1929, he sold the company's music catalog to Warner Brothers, and by 1941, left a significant musical inheritance behind for Johnny. After completing his service in the U.S. Army, Johnny's interest in music deepened. While stationed in Queens, New York, he befriended director Charles L. Turner. That friendship reignited Johnny's passion for 1930s-style musicals. He began playing guitar with renewed purpose, feeling a strong connection to the musical spirit of his grandfather, Soon comparisons were being drawn between Johnny and greats like Bing Crosby and Fred Astaire. By the early 1960s, Johnny had refined his skills and was ready to go professional. In 1961, he recorded his first single, Daydreams, and quickly gained traction thanks to his fame from the Rifleman. He signed with Delphi Records, and his music career took off. Several of his songs made it onto the Billboard Hot 100, and over time, he released 3 albums and racked up 8 charting hits. But Johnny didn't stop there. He followed in his grandfather's footsteps yet again by forming the Johnny Crawford Dance Orchestra, a group that specialized in big band jazz and swing music. It was yet another layer to his already impressive career, proof that he was full of surprises. And just when fans thought they'd seen it all, Johnny revealed another hidden passion: rodeo. He was a dedicated member of both the Professional Rodeo Cowboys Association and the American Junior Rodeo Association. Thanks to the years of horseback riding and ranch-style training he'd done for the Rifleman, Johnny had mastered rodeo skills like steer wrestling, calf roping, bronc riding, bull riding, and trick roping. These weren't just hobbies, they were serious pursuits. He took immense pride in them. But perhaps his biggest surprise came when he put everything on hold: his music, his acting, his rodeo, to serve his country. In December 1965, at the height of his career, Johnny voluntarily enlisted in the U.S. Army. He believed it was his duty to answer the call of his nation and serve during the Vietnam War. "I don't feel like I'm giving up anything," he once said. "I owe it to my country." His military service began with basic training at Fort Bliss, Texas, eventually led him to the Army Pictorial Center in New York, where his unique talents would be used in a different but equally important way. While stationed at the Army Pictorial Center in New York, Johnny contributed to the production of training films, combining his creative talents with his sense of duty. In letters home, he often joked about military haircuts, comparing them to historical scalping. But behind the humor was a deep pride in the work he was doing. He enjoyed creating training films that helped prepare soldiers for combat, while also honing his own filmmaking skills. In December 1967, Johnny was honorably discharged after rising to the rank of sergeant. He returned from the military not just older, but wiser, a stronger man. More focused on both his career and family. Years later, feeling settled and grounded, Johnny reconnected with his high school sweetheart, Charlotte Samko. In 1990, they reunited, and after 5 years of rekindled love, they married in 1995. Unlike many in Hollywood, Johnny was lucky. He never went through a messy breakup or divorce. His marriage to Charlotte remained strong and steady throughout the years. A quiet but powerful success story. Though Johnny never had biological children, took on the role of father with love and pride, helping to raise his 2 stepdaughters, Brenda and Jamie. He cherished his family life and often collaborated creatively with his brother Bobby. Together, they appeared in the Mickey Mouse Club and later formed a musical act called the Crawford Brothers. After leaving the Army, Johnny took a brief step back from acting, but he eventually returned to the screen in projects like The Gambler Returns, The Luck of the Draw in 1991, even reuniting with Chuck Connors for one last collaboration. His acting career remained steady until he officially retired in 1999. However, in 2019, fans were treated to one final appearance when Johnny returned for The Marshal, a tribute to silent film star William S. Hart. But then came the question: why did Johnny Crawford's life end on such a heartbreaking note? Imagine living a life so full of glory, fame, and love. Imagine never falling into the typical traps that ensnare young celebrities. Johnny had it all. By his 20s, he had achieved more than most do in a lifetime. But youth fades, and time has a way of humbling even the brightest stars. Johnny never got to hold on to his memories of that golden era. In a cruel twist of fate, he was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease, a condition that slowly stole away the very memories that defined his remarkable life. Surrounded by those who loved him, Johnny could no longer recognize them. For a man who had been so adored by the world, this was a painfully lonely and tragic way to spend his final years. As if fate was handing him a final punishment, not through scandal or downfall, but through forgetfulness. A GoFundMe campaign was launched to support his medical expenses, as his net worth, estimated around $500,000, was heavily impacted by the rising cost of care. Then, in 2021, the world received one last heartbreaking surprise from Johnny Crawford. On April 29, 2021, the beloved actor, musician, and American icon passed away not from Alzheimer's, but from complications due to COVID-19. The loss was deeply felt across generations. Johnny Crawford, a boy who grew up on America's TV screens, who mastered music, who served his country, and who gave his fans decades of joy, was gone. But he will never be forgotten. Rest in peace, yeah. Johnny Crawford. A shining tear in the memory of the world gone, but forever remembered.